Are we live?
We're live.
Live, Jennifer Lacey.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, good morning. You know what, Jen? I'm amazing because I had
Okay.
like super awesome night's sleep last night.
Good.
And this week it's like, okay, my sleep habits have been I've been slacking on my sleep regimen. And so I said,
Okay.
man, I need to focus. And so I have been focusing. The past couple nights have been like so awesome. Really good sleep. Wake up fully rested, ideas.
Yes.
Let's go get this bad boy.
It's
How
the
about
good and
you?
bad. It's the good of your body's getting rested and you're getting rejuvenated. The bad is that now all these ideas are there and you're having to like sort through them.
Yes, ma'am. You already know that.
I
What's up?
do.
Good.
Yes. Good.
We already got our first
Woo, woo,
call.
woo, woo.
Mr. Jim coming in from Dallas on the deck. So
Yes.
don't.
Good morning.
We got Mike Hyman. What's up, Mike?
Yes.
Happy
I haven't seen
Independence
him in a
Day.
while. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to hang out with him here in a few weeks, Mike. I can't wait.
Nice.
So speaking of ideas that
Okay.
come up when I get a lot of rest, we'll say this a few times throughout the show, but we're gonna run a little experiment today, and we have a prize. The prize is this: you will get free invite access to next week's facilitation for connection session. This will be round number 2 on that. All you have to do is drop the word connection in the chat. Connection in the chat. And at the end, we have this there's this little tool I found on StreamYard that does kind of like a randomizer selector thing. And we'll announce the winner at the end of the live stream. Drop the word connection, and you'll get an invite to our session on Friday at 2 p.m. What do you think about that, Jennifer?
I like that. So a little bit also, can we add that, like, what is this facilitation thing and what is it? Is it part of a bigger thing or is it just a conversation on facilitation?
I didn't see that. Yes, please, because I didn't see that on
no,
the agenda.
so Cultivation Crew, which is a bigger thing that you and I have launched, that facilitation is one component of 4 that we are digging into, and we have an amazing group of people and we're continually adding people on just how can we connect better. And so connection is the key, but it's like that facilitation piece, storytelling. How do we do storytelling? How do we give and receive feedback? And how do we do self-reflection? So that's the bigger thing, but right now we're in the middle of facilitation.
Yes, and the field assignment after this week's session is going to be super
it's going to be awesome.
Oh man, so we got people. We got Mr. Buddy Brumley saying hashtag dang it. Good morning, buddy. Oh, we got Miss Holly. Holly, how you doing? Coming in from Ottawa, Canada.
Is she new?
You know what? This might
okay.
Be,
well, then we need.
Is this your first time? I know her. I did she was like my champion for an IPD webinar conference.
Nice.
Out in California.
I need to connect with her. But can we do blue hearts just so I can make?
Yes. Yes. Please. Okay. Please.
Then we'll say hi to everybody. So if this is your first time, if it's your first time joining us, then you automatically fall into this category. But if you have also been maybe watching us, we call you lurkers, not bad, but lurkers just kind of, you're not really engaged. You're kind of watching, observing, trying to see what the heck's going on with these two. But you maybe today are willing to type a little bit and contribute. The only ask is we ask you to put a blue heart in the chat, and you can do right click, go to emojis and do that, or just write blue heart, whatever you want to do. But what that does, we won't do anything more than just recognize you and give you a shout out, but also it allows our entire No BS tribe to know that you are a new person. And what that does, it signals to them that, hey, this is a new person. Let's make sure we welcome them. Let's make sure we connect with them. And then we also go and follow their content so that sorry, my nose is running. So that we can all make sure that we grow this tribe. So that is like what we do. And so Blue Heart it signals to our team members to connect with you.
Yes, Blue Hearts, yes. Unite. And so this is Miss Amy. I know because of the unicorn coming in from Durham.
Yes.
Steve Martin coming in from rainy, steamy, yucky Connecticut. Oh,
Oh, yes.
ugly
Good.
wallpaper. Yeah. Look at this. So we got Josh.
Hello,
Put
Josh.
connection. Holly
Yes.
also dropped connection.
Nice.
And look, Holly said yes. On behalf of the Integrated Project Delivery Alliance, IPDA, that
Awesome.
was the conference, and
Nice.
she's super awesome. Thank you for
Okay.
being here, Holly. So
Yes.
again, drop the word connection in the chat to be eligible or to get in the randomizer raffle thingy, and you'll get free access to our session on Friday. And what are we talking about today, Jen?
Vision. And so we're talking about visions today, which that's, to me, it's a sticky word, and it does not a bad word. It's just a sticky word because I think people can use it, they just they say vision, but it also can really make people like struggle, and they can it can get them in kind of in a weird place when we're talking about vision. And so I'm just going to throw how this even came about, and then I'll let you take it from there. Is that good?
Come on.
Okay, so usually we have our after party, which we will have one today. Have our after party, then we life comes in and we do a lot of stuff, and then we sit down and talk about what are we going to talk about on our next live stream. And so in between the last live stream and this one, Jesse and Thomas kind of did a collabo session on The Fifth Discipline, which is a book which I had not read. And so when I was listening to them talk, I was like, oh crap, I need to get this book. I need to download it. And so there's some conversations in that book around vision. And it really stuck with me in some of the things that y'all talked about, but also even what I've gotten from the book that y'all haven't talked about. And so then that came into our conversation on we're going to talk about a lot of these things, but just like vision versus reality, and where do we sacrifice and who gets sacrificed, but also corporate vision versus individual visions. And so all those things were in my head. And then what you usually do is you take everything that I say and then you put it in one little statement, and that's what we talk about. And that's what we're talking about today. So you take it from there.
I love it, Jen. Well, and what I liked about it specifically is that it coupled nicely with the conversation that we were having at the after party at our last live stream. And so, kind of the theme or underlying thing that was coming up in our after party was when you're not connected with the team organizationally, right? You as an individual, you get this vision and you believe it, right? Like you think it's heartfelt and it's real and it's durable, and then you go work for that team or those people, and it turns out to be less than as sexy as they had promoted.
Yes.
And what that creates.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was kind of the gist of the conversation that we had at the after party. And then you said, hey, well done, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I feel like this is a beautiful thing to talk about specifically. And Steve said it, right? He said no ugly wallpaper. And so there's two big things that are like making my butt itch around this topic. One is because I've been a part of these conversations for years now, where people go off to a retreat and they have a visioning set, like corporately, we'll say that, corporate context. We go off and have these conversations and these visioning sessions and wordsmith the hell out of something, right? Put some fancy words together, which I get, like I understand and totally appreciate the value of that. And then the biggest effort after that is making sure that the hex code is correct for the color and the font.
Yes.
And then it's put on the wall and treated as if something has been treated as if the vision has been accomplished.
Yes, it's just we've identified what it is. Now check the box. Yes.
And my assertion is that that's just the easy part.
Yes.
Like all you've done is put it into words. You haven't made it happen. You haven't helped other people understand how to contribute to that or even align with it. And so that's where that dysfunction comes, is because, okay, you put some fancy words together and then you're irritated. And I'm saying you as the leader, organizational leader, I'm irritated. Like, okay, well, why aren't people on board and why aren't they buying in and all this garbage? It's like, well, because all I did was create some ugly wallpaper.
Yes.
So that's one bucket.
Yep.
The other bucket is this. What, like, with individuals, especially in the tribe, the No BS tribe, we have a lot of people that are like getting wind beneath their wings, like Miss Sarah Ganella. What's up, Sarah? Hello, fellow
Yes.
BSers that are actively working to leave their mark on the world, to leave this world better than they found it, which is them sharing their gifts and talents, which is causing a tear or a divide in their
Ooh,
corporate identity and their personal identity.
yes.
And so I think there's a lot of stuff there that I know that we can dig into with the crew, but ultimately, rather the biggest thing that icks me or bugs me about some of people that are going through that transition, where they have a vision, an idea, and it's
Mhm.
an idea, right? Vision, idea. They have an idea that they want to bring to life. They bring the idea to me, put it on my table, and expect me to bring it. Like, that's not my
Make
vision,
it
bro.
happen, Jess. Make it
Right.
happen.
Like, no, that's yours. And
Yes.
I'm not irritated as much as that behavior, as much as I am in how they get their feelers hurt and get all huffy and puffy because I don't do it for them. And they feel as if nobody listens to me. They're like, it's the blame game after that, except that it's your damn idea. So anyways, I know that's a little bit
Yes.
convoluted, but what do you think, Jen?
No, absolutely. And you and I have had these conversations for like over 2 years. So it's like this is stuff that I'm used to having a conversation with you about. So I'm excited that we're having this in a bigger arena, because I work for a company, and I'm just going to own that. Early on, it was really easy to define my worth and my value by how my company defined my worth and my value. And that, I mean, and so because of that, it dictated and defined my vision a lot. And it was like, it was a lot of it was self-imposed. And so I've been kind of on a, not just I made a decision, I had an itch and I scratched it. Like, I've been on a journey on helping, what does that look like? Define, what does that tear look like without injuring or hurting one side or the other? And for me, that's, it's been a slower process than maybe some people that just jump off the cliff, but it has allowed me to be clear and allowed me to feel confident that I can have a vision, I can have my own identity, and I can still be in a space that, there may be a bigger picture over here, and I don't have to own all that. And so that's been my journey and kind of some of the things we're going to talk about today. Yes.
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned like you were concerned about damage or the tear that it would have, not just for you, but for the organization. Did I hear that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which I think is interesting because, like, for real, the company's going to keep going without any of us.
Right.
So what damage are you really causing?
Right. But I think I said, and I use the word self-imposed very intentionally, because I think our roles, and some of them are different than others. And, some of them, there's 50 of you, and some of you, from me, there's one of me. That doesn't mean that if I decide tomorrow to do something different, that someone else won't be able to fill that position. And so I think we get so caught up on the success. And for me, I've been with a company for a very long time. So then you kind of come into knowing you're a part of something. And then, well, what happens if I do something different and then it impact? I mean, again, it's stuff we do in our head. It's the things we're saying in our head that keep us. And I think that's another conversation we're going to have today, is that keep us from pursuing something, because here's my reality. Here's the things that work. They've got me here. All that stuff. And it keeps me from making a decision, or keeps me from going in a different direction, because, I owe them. And so that, and that part I had to get past. I can still do everything I'm doing and help them have success and support them, but I don't owe them for what I've contributed, because they've also benefited from my contribution.
Oh, I think that's huge, girl.
I
Because
know, right?
well, one, because you and I've had this conversation
Yes, yes,
so
yes.
many times, and to hear you say it with the confidence and clarity that you just said it, I think is phenomenal. And so I'm gonna throw this question out there to the tribe. Do you
Yes.
oh, that's not the right spelling. Do you oh. Well, I may not spell it right, but I know it doesn't have an
I think
N
you
in
had
it.
it right.
Do you
That's
owe
right.
them? No, I spelled
Yeah.
own,
Oh,
OWN.
okay.
So, question to the tribe out there: do you owe the organization for anything? Right? Like, what do you owe them? Let's think about that. And while you're thinking about that, I want to make sure we show some love to
Yes,
Miss
yes, yes.
Nina. What's going on, sister? And then we got Mr. Lance coming in, Trade Partner HQ. Yes, clarity will help your vision survive the bumps in the road.
Mhm.
So, question to you, Jen: this clarity, did you say, okay, I need to get clear? And
No,
then 30 minutes later, you got clear?
no.
What was that
No, not at all. It for me, and it maybe even be longer for me than some people, but it was lots of conversations, lots of and again, Jesse, because you are a lot of those conversations, and as much as it it itches you, it gives you an itch because people like to dump things on your plate. The value of our conversations is it wasn't me dumping it on your plate, but it also wasn't you going, when you're going to do this, when you're going to do this, when you're going to do this, like nudge, 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 nudge. When I had to figure it out, like part of that, it's like both ways. It's not just taking it and doing it for somebody, but it's also like everybody's journey is different, everybody's path is different, and because I have a lot of stuff on my plate, and so I had to get there on my own, and it's taken a lot of conversations and me kind of little things here and there, like putting things in place. And then something happened. And because all those other things were in place, like it kind of exploded.
Yeah.
And so it didn't happen overnight, but it wasn't just, I was being lazy and just going, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was those little things sometimes that you're putting the stones in place as you're getting there.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So Sarah says, isn't it about getting clear on what makes you happy and fulfilled? Isn't that the key? What do you think, Jen?
I think that's part of it. I think you need to be able to know. And I saw a quote earlier this week, but it's the getting clear on your passion, and it was about passion. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, and it rung with me because um, my passion goes across a lot of different places. So I have passion for what I do within my company. I do. Like I have no question about that. But I also have passion outside in the things that you and I do. And so like getting clear on the passion to me allows me to at least know, okay, this makes me happy and this doesn't. But I also know that like a lot of the things we do are hard. And a lot of the things we do sometimes we struggle with and we get frustrated with, and they're uncomfortable. All those things don't make people happy, but they could be things that we have to get through to be able to get to the other side of something that is amazing and is fulfilling us and stuff like that. So I think identifying my passion helped me be able to kind of persevere through some of that other stuff. So that's my take. What about you?
Yeah, I don't like the idea of feel good. Right now, let me say it more
Yeah.
clearly. The idea of what makes me happy and what my passions are is a dangerous space for me to spend my time.
Yes. Tell us more about that, Jesse. Why is that?
Well, because I'm an addict, right?
Yep.
I'm a selfish son of a gun all the time, every time. And if I spend my time on the things that make me happy, there's a lot of things that make me happy. Expensive, illegal things make me happy, right? Other people's wives make me happy. That's not okay to do that.
Mhm.
And so I have to be careful there. And on the passion side, I have a lot of things that rev me up and get me going, but they only serve my
Oh,
desire and my need, right? So I want to be super clear. I'm not accusing anybody of being as twisted as I am. I just know how twisted I am.
mhm.
And so for me, it's about fulfillment. What are the things that bring me the greatest amount of fulfillment. And the list can get gigantic, but basically it is serving others.
Yeah.
And yes, I've said it before, it is for me, it's a selfish act because of the fulfillment it brings. I'm going to serve others, and it keeps me on the path to becoming the promise I'm intended to be. So I know that might be a little convoluted, but for me, it's really important to maintain that framework. I mean, like Sarah's saying, she's like, fulfilled to me is passion. I can agree with that. I just know that there's some things that I'm passionate about that are just no bueno for me.
And I think being clear on that, I have a shirt that is like, do what makes you happy. Like, I love shirts. I love wear, and I have people that, there's one person specifically in my life that when I wear that shirt, like, Jennifer, I don't believe in that. And I'm like, okay, why? And they're like, because there's a lot of things that make people happy that are not good. And so very, very much aligned with what you just said. Yeah,
but again, I want to like ultra clear for the tribe out there. This is the framework that happens in Jesse Land, right? I'm not saying that your framework is wrong.
Right.
I'm saying that this is the script that I need to follow in order to contribute in the way I want to contribute, because it's very easy for me to like get way off of the track. So we got Robert. Why? What's up, Robert? He said,
yes,
he's busy with family. He's back. He says one of the things that brings him the most joy is when those around or under me succeed. It's even better than my success. Yeah. Yes. Dr. G, what's up?
She's been all over social media. So follow her because she is changing the world.
She's a boss because I'm bossy. I don't know if you know that song, but I like that song. Anyway, she says the fulfillment cycle is powerful. And so, yes, 100% for me, like it's a never ending, it's that reciprocal propulsion thing, right? Like I do it gives me more energy. I do it gives me more energy. You and I talked about this the other day, how it helps me find new avenues from which to contribute and serve others as long as I'm doing those things. And like the end, it's limitless. It's super limitless. Now, I want to go back and recognize Miss Maria Martin. She says, good morning to the radtastic lurkers. Lurkers, if you're out there, I'm going to dangle a little carrot to tease you, entice you out of the darkness. And if you didn't catch this at the beginning, we're testing out a new thing here where we're going to be giving out a free seat to the facilitation for connection session on Friday. And all you got to do is drop the word connection in the chat. And at the end of the show today, before we go off air, we're going to do a little randomizer thing, and it's going to select, and whoever gets it will get a free pass, and we'll see you on Friday. So I'm maybe going off script here a little bit, Jen.
Surprise.
Surprise. So as people are typing in connection in the chat, this idea about joy, I feel like I want to ask the tribe, what brings you joy as an individual, as a human being? What do you think, Jen? Is that a fair question?
No, I think that's a great. Words matter, and we talk about this all the time. And like here, Sarah talks about happiness and stuff like that. Versus, just like words matter. And I think when someone asks a direct question like that, we don't have an instant response because we don't think about it. And I think we need to think about it.
Yes. All right. So while y'all stew on that, right? Because you and I were talking, like, should we ask what their vision is? And some of us don't nerd out on that sort of thing. Right. And that might be like,
or it stresses people.
Yes.
Like the anxiety that comes up on, my vision, I don't know what direction I'm going to go right now versus 3 years versus 5 years, whatever. And they get where they can't function.
100%. So folks, share that, because I'll say this, in terms of my personal vision, there is a direct connection to what brings me joy. an immediate, direct, straight line between joy and my vision. And I think if I was going to like share anybody the shortcut to getting clear about what their vision, their personal vision is, it would be to first evaluate what brings you joy. And if it's a big list, that's okay. But start there. What do you think? Is that
No,
good
100%,
direction?
because I'm going to tell you very easily in a nutshell in my world, what brings me joy is building connection. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? I'm like, for me, and it's very clear. And those of you that have been in my space and been around me, you know, this is real. Building connection in our industry to where company lines don't matter, because that is how I show up. I don't show up going, "Ooh, this is ours, but that's yours, but we compete against you, but you're in this position and you could hurt," like all of that stuff that people like get tangled up in their head as they progress in the companies. Like, I don't live in that space. So there's no company lines. There's no, we work for you, we work against you. You are here. We don't, I mean, like all of those things they don't matter to me. Building connection in an industry to where company lines don't matter, and we are out here to help each other grow and improve and get better. Like that's what makes me happy. And those of you that have been in spaces to where you got to be there and I got to connect you to somebody else and all that, Cindy and I got to do that a week ago with Cindy Cohn. It was awesome, but it was like that's the stuff that brings me joy.
Oh man, so we got a lot of joy comments. So I'm going to go on the comment, but I want to come back to the first question that we asked is, do you owe them?
Yes. That's a big one.
There's some important stuff there, but first I don't want to break the line between the joy, because you know how my brain works, or doesn't work. And so Miss Holly says, as a mama of 4, the happiness and success of my kids matter, especially how I'm showing up for them. Yeah.
Yes.
Important.
100%.
Mr. Josh, what's up, Josh? He says, what brings me joy is helping people have that aha moment of something they want to know and ask for help on. Yeah?
Yes. Asking for help. That's a big one.
Yesenia says, family relationships and meaningful work bring her joy. Right?
Yep.
Let's see. Did I miss one? Joy. No, I think that's it. So we got all the comments in terms of what brings you joy. I think Josh misspelled Jesse. He says, that's awesome, Jesse. That's how we should all look at it. We're all into the industry and great companies will promote viewing it that way. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is like, when we let go of the fear of loss, of fear, oh my God, they're going to get my secret. Like, come on, man.
Right?
Sheetrock, concrete, and drywall and pipes. Like, there's no secret.
Right.
But we can all contribute to each other and make each other's days better, or experience at least a more positive and fluid experience. And so,
and can we just make the statement, and then I want you to transition. Like, I don't know anybody out there, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. I don't think there's any one company out there that's going to get all the work.
They can't handle it.
I mean, like it's just right. It's just never going to happen. So if like that to me is the entry level of why does it matter?
Yes. No, you're 100%. Even if you can't, I know this for a fact. And if I'm lying, you let me know out there. I know this for a fact. If any company out there got every project they pursued, they would lose their ass, because they do not have the resources to staff it and deliver on all that 100%. Work. Come at me if I'm wrong.
100%, you're right.
But still, we play these games that divide, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, okay. Yes. So back to the joy. Robert says his joy is directly related to the posture of his heart towards surrendering control and trusting and building up others. Man, that's gangsta.
Oh, damn. That's a quote.
Yes. Sarah's joy is bringing out people's badass self. And so bring out your badass self. They just had a live stream yesterday on, what's the word? Consent, which I'll be listening to as I get my mileage in. And then Dr. G says, I have many joys, especially advocating for my autistic son. But what brings me ultimate professional joy is intentional speaking up for and connecting others who are often overlooked, to restaurant people who can change the trajectory of their lives, right? Like, I think she meant restore people. But yeah, 100%. Like, amazing. And I know Dr. G because I got to interview her on the podcast. Like, that is the guiding light, the source, the power source for the way she shows up and the way she contributes and the way she lives her vision. So, do I have permission to go back to the other question?
Yes, you do. Because I want to add to this, but I think we'll get there eventually. So yes.
Well, come on, hit me. Hit me.
Well, no, I just what you just said, like the advocating and the company lines and all that, like an example of that happened in the last couple of weeks is when I do it, that's how I show up. I show up with no company lines. Like all my people are my people. It doesn't matter. But when I see my vision, like creating those ripples of impact, and all of a sudden something happens that I'm like, ooh, like that's what I would do, but somebody else was doing it. So an example, and I posted about it on social media, was there was an event last week that I wasn't able to attend. And Jamie Knox, who's in our tribe, she was there. We compete against Jamie's firm. So we are competing GCs. And she's at an event and says to a group of people, y'all need to meet Jennifer. And this is a company that at any point could be working for her company, could be working for my company. And she said, you need to connect with her. And then we were able to this past week have I got to meet with them. We got to find out how they could do work with us, all this stuff, but we compete against them. And so when that happened, and then I got the invite, and then all this stuff, and it was like, that's what we need to be doing, like that right there. It was just reinforcement that when you keep doing that, then it creates an environment where other people can do that.
Yes. And so we just talked, thank you, Jen. Yes. We just talked about what brings us joy and what that connection might be in terms of your own personal vision. We haven't talked about the ugly wallpaper. Yep. So I'm going to kind of maybe take us back a little bit to the ugly wallpaper and then come back around.
Yep.
Now I asked the question, do you owe them? Because we also touched on this separation, we'll call it friction between your corporate identity and your personal identity.
Yes.
Right. And we talked about, you and I, many, many conversations over many months about what the difference was for Jennifer Lacey. And there was this thing of like, but I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't be where I'm at. I wouldn't have the things. I wouldn't, because they gave it to me. We had a similar conversation with Megan, and we've had like this thing comes up over and over. And I remember feeling that, right? But I'm easy at leaving people. You can ask all my exes and all the companies. Ask Sean Moran. Sean Moran will tell you, Jesse's an expert abandoner. But I've had those feelings of I can't go because of everything they gave me. And that's how I think that keeps a lot of us stuck longer than necessary. Now, the question to the tribe was, do you owe them? And so we have a couple of comments here. We got Miss Stephanie, who I got to hang out and have awesome conversations with her. She did a webinar, learned a lot, and she's going to change the world, continue changing worlds. Stephanie said, this is such a powerful conversation, realizing that you don't owe anyone anything except yourself, meaning you only owe you, releases so much pressure and frees you to explore what's important to you. What do you think, Jen?
I think, yes, 100%, Stephanie, you killed it. And the way this translates into my brain is when we go eat some really good food, Jesse, because you like really good food. When we go eat really good food and we get to experience it, and then we get done and we get to say thank you, and then we leave. Do we go back to that restaurant the next day or the next week and go, hey, remember that food you got me? That was really good. I appreciate it. No. Thank you they're powerful words for a lot of different reasons. We talk about them with feedback, but like, yes, this happened and we acknowledge it and then we get to keep moving. And that's kind of, Stephanie says, we get to release, like we acknowledged it, we appreciate it, and then we get to keep going. There's not these anchors that are like in us that we just have to keep turning back, and we have to keep acknowledging all of the things that got us there, because we were there. We were a part of those things. It wasn't somebody laying this yellow brick road out in front of us and we just got to, skip down the road and everything was just like, most of us worked really hard ourselves to be able to continue to move down that journey and to accomplish the things we did. Yes, there was a platform. Yes, there was an opportunity. And so yes, we need to say thank you. We need to acknowledge that. That's fine. But the owing piece, like, it anchors us into something that does not allow us to move forward in that own personal journey.
Yes,
that part.
I agree 100%. It handcuffs you.
Yes.
Only serve, right? I'll say it this way. It's handcuffed me to limit my ability to serve. Meaning my whole world were these little, and they were big companies, but from the grand scheme of things, little venues, baby venues compared to the venue that I can actually serve in and contribute to in big, meaningful ways. So,
and it's both. And I think, again, I know you're about to pull something up, but Mike mentioned too, like, it is both sides. Like, we can't just dismiss like that you didn't do anything to help me. And like, I will own that, like, the opportunities I've been given, I fought for them and I earned them, but they were also given to me. Like, someone had to say yes. So I think it's the balance and being able to acknowledge, thank you for this opportunity. And then this is what I did with it. I think we have to make sure we look at both sides.
100%. And so Yesenia, speaking of both sides, says, indeed, you do owe them a little. They invest in you and train you. So the way you give back is through your commitment and loyalty. However, the business should never stop investing and providing training for its employees. It is not a one-time event. What do you think, Jen?
Yes. Well, and I think that piece right there is where that ties right back to the vision piece on, it's not a one-time event. And so I think it's what we get caught up sometimes in checking boxes, and we get caught up in I provided this for this person, and I'm going to say, for me, I don't know many people that just, okay, now that's done. Now they're in a spot where now they're good and they can just go forward and they don't need to learn anything else. Like, I feel like evolution is part of everybody's journey. And what are we doing to internally, or allowing them to do that externally? What are we doing to help feed and help that grow?
Yeah. So I think the word you used is perfect, evolution. And I will come back to that because we got some great
yes.
So Robert says, I'm not sure the correct word is owe, but maybe prefer or reciprocation for what has been given you. All right. So exchange is what I'm hearing. Sarah says, did they give it to you? I would argue that elevated them and gave them of your amazing self. Right.
That part right there, it takes some, like, it takes you a bit to get there.
Yes. Mike Hyman, and I'm going to use Mike as an example here in a minute. The flip side, don't feel like, for real, like it's a real true story. The flip side, don't feel like the company owes you anything. Having a good balance and understanding that ideal state can exist when neither side feels like they owe. Word. Man, we got some stuff here. Maria says, you can be grateful without owing someone. Didn't Maria do something recently? There's this
I don't know if it was intentional or if it was on her vision or anything, but she jumped. Yes.
You gotta check her out. Y'all need to follow Maria. She's cooking up some good stuff. Companies can invest in us without respecting or recognizing an impact an employee may have in their role. If they aren't respecting or recognizing your work, there is zero obligation. Nothing that I've got, none of these comments make me say, no, I disagree. I think they're valuable in thoughts or perspectives in terms of identifying or maybe recognizing our own ability to contribute. And I promised that I was going to talk about Mike Kyman. And so I agree with Yesenia's perspective. Like, yes, they provided training, they did da. Now, here's my issue. Like, when I think about it in my brain, it's like math. Yes, they trained me and I learned, right? Like, they didn't give me the capacity to learn and apply what I picked up, because I've trained people that they just, man, they weren't cutting it. And so that was the exchange. And then what they trained me on, I went and did the thing and I got paid, but I gave them the thing before they paid me. That's how work happens, right?
Yes.
Like, I got to go first. You got to make the training because of the business value it brings you. You're not training me because you love me and you see the potential in me. You're training me in the direction that the business needs me to go. And then we do this convoluted, weird thing where the manager, it gets credit for that. Like, they're this altruistic person. And in some cases that's true. And in some cases it's not. So all across that value stream is a series of exchanges to get, and the payback, like the return cycle is super fast. I mean, come on, you put me in a training or you sent me to a conference for like $3,000. I know that's not pennies, but that's about 2 weeks of salary for some people. That's like less than a week of salary for some people. So there's no like the paybacks, the return cycle on the organization getting their return on investment is tight. But as a human being, I feel like I owe them more because I don't account for all the value that I bring as an individual that's committed and loyal and thinking and growing and serving others. And so my point in saying it that way is that we as individuals, just regular human beings, undervalue all the experience and impact that we have within the organization. And so if I'm going to say anything that I'm going to stand on, it is to begin evaluating or giving yourself more credit for your contributions, because people did not make me have the skill set and the gifts that I have. They may have helped me reconnect with them, but I had them. I brought them. They didn't give them to me. Now, you also talked about evolution, Jen. And I think this thing happens, and this coming back at you, Mike Kyman, because I've been able to see it in me, and I think I see it in other people. There was a time where I was an installing plumber, and like my vision was to just kick every other plumber's ass, just be better than all of the plumbers that I worked with. And then I got to foreman level. My vision was just to be the best freaking plumber in San Antonio, plumbing foreman in San Antonio. And so over time, I started discovering these new things that I had a skill set to do and got resources to cultivate and develop from the company. And then I did those things. And so over time, my contribution to the organization and to the company evolved. I think a lot of us go through that, right? Not because they put me in training or didn't put me in training. There was a lot of the skills that I have. There is no freaking training for it, right? Like there's no training to be this sexy, for real. So anyways, get back on track on the tangible goals here. I feel like there was a point in my trajectory that I could see all of a sudden that corporate organizations are not equipped to help me to contribute to my growth of the next level. And I remember Mike Kyman and I had this very frank conversation about the situation. And the words Mike said was, "I feel like I'm holding you back." And I was like, oh shit. Okay. And I don't think that was like just a selfish thing. I think it was him. I felt like it was him recognizing what I could do if I could spread my wings and fly. And so that propelled me, like just that support, human to human, I think had the bigger impact on me and my ability to serve. And so kind of going back to Yesenia's comment, like the loyalty, I think we often misplace the loyalty to the company when it's actually the individual human beings with or without their title that contribute to us that have earned some measure of loyalty. What do you think about that, Jennifer?
Yes, and I have an example of that specifically. So one, I want to re-emphasize the undervaluing our contribution. Like number one is we do that. I don't care if you say, I know it, you're still undervaluing it. So it's that one thing that it's like sometimes you don't realize and you think, oh, I've got this, and you're still not really digging into what you are contributing. That reciprocal piece, like for whatever reason, we get blinders on and we realize what people are doing for us. We kind of struggle sometimes with what we have contributed. So just like that part, just stopping and just having to identify, here's the things I've done, or here's the things that I've contributed to. That should be something you're doing daily, weekly, just a reminder. But the turning point for me, I'm gonna say it's been a journey, but there was a conversation that happened, and I think it allowed me not to go company Jennifer, like self and company, and these were separate things and all. I mean, like it's like I lived in this kind of world where I was trying to bounce back and forth, and I'm saying this to those of you that are in companies and that you have people that are trying to do things maybe bigger or outside of the company. And you said it when Mike made the comment to you and made the statement to you, and it allowed you to see something different. And the statement to me was in a performance evaluation inside my company, sitting down with my manager, the person that leads me. We got through all the stuff that all my roles and responsibilities within the firm and all the things that I'm doing. And at the end, the statement was, Jennifer, I just want to make sure you know that I, as well as our leaders in the company, support everything you do inside and outside of this firm. And I'm going to tell you the release, all the words we want to use. But I mean, it's not, and I was doing it. It wasn't like I was like hiding it. Like, I mean, my stuff's on social. So it's not like I was like doing it behind the curtain. I was doing it, but it was still kind of turning on and off. Like I was trying to make sure I was walking the right lines and making sure that I was, representing the best way I could. That statement, like literally, it was just like a release of like, it's flowing back and forth between the two. Like we can't put a line in the middle because of the things we're doing and the way we're impacting this industry and the way we're impacting people. Like we can't. And if we think we are, we're lying to ourselves.
Ooh. Amen. And I hear, like, I want to stay there for just a little bit, Jen, because I see a high density of this kind of evolution, this phase of that evolution within the No BS tribe, the emotional bungee jumpers, and the cultivation crew, right? It just feels like there's this high frequency of people being on the ledge, but the anchor of but the company, I owe them, and then I think the natural human feeling of like, I do owe them. I'm where I'm at because of them. It's like, no, they've contributed, and so have you. But we don't give ourselves enough credit for it. Yesenia says, Jesse, we do undervalue ourselves until that light bulb moment.
Yes.
This is what we need to teach our younger generations, to learn their value early on and not teach them that we don't owe a company anything. Right. So we need to be in touch with ourselves and surround ourselves with people that are going to put it in our face. Like, no, fool, that ain't them. That's you. Like Mike Tyson. He says,
but before you go to Mike, can we go back to Yesenia's comment real fast, because I want to also make a statement of we don't owe the company at the very last, that we don't owe a company anything. This conversation came up with another person. We don't owe a person anything either, because that owing culture, and I call it an owing culture because that was part of the conversation, is sometimes that owing, we owe the company, but we've also seen, and I'm going to tell you, construction is one of the worst places that this happens is someone gave us a start. Someone gave us an opportunity. Someone listened to us and fed something into us early on in our career. And for whatever reason, for the rest of our career, we will drop everything to go and support and do what that person needs us to do, even if we've outgrown them. And that it's that owing culture even to a person because they gave us that opportunity. And so to me, it's both. It's the company, but then there's also, and I'm going to tell you some of you, because I can own this, that there are people that believed in me or they saw something in me and then they fed me and then I took it and ran, but I still like have this obligation to like, you know, still be in their little world. And sometimes like we're bigger than that. And we don't allow ourselves
Yes.
to get away from that.
That's it. We are bigger than our situation, right? Like your current situation right now, mine, yours, everybody else's, we are bigger than that. But there's these things that we need to, you know, break free from. So Maria shares this. There's no scorecard in giving. It's either freely given or it's meant to be a manipulation tactic. I like that. That's some clear, hard lines. And then again, back to Mike, just want to shout out because huge contribution in my life. He said, yep, the bird has been let out of the cage.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that.
Eagles, baby, Breckenridge Eagles. And so I want to remind people that we do have a little thingy going on.
Yes.
And actually, let me go back to this. Mr. Jim Gontorius being super awesome, right? He says, sorry, I'm booked on Friday. Otherwise, he would participate in the little challenge we got going on. And he doesn't want to take away a spot from somebody else. And so that thing is dropping the word connection in the chat, in the comments, the word connection. And we're going to do a little randomizer drawing at the end of the session here in a few minutes. And the winner is going to be able to or get an invite to come and hang out on the facilitation for connection session that we have going on Friday. So drop the word connection. If you're already a member and you get selected, like if you're already a member of the cultivation crew and your name gets picked, then you get to invite a friend.
Yes.
Right? Like go ahead and bring us some more victims. All right. Sorry, I got off track.
That's okay.
So there's, oh God, there's two big ones here, but Nate, what's up, brother Nate? Back to the loyalty idea.
And just so you know, he's another one that's right now making some transitional decisions.
Oh, awesome, man. Happy to hear and support in any way, well, in the ways that I best can support, not anyways, because there's a lot of ways I won't. He says, loyalty, Marines are in the foxhole, in the firefight for the Marine on their left and right. They're not there for the general. Right?
Yes.
So how does that tie back to vision? Well, let's see. The company has a vision. The leaders within the organization and within the departments and you know, cascading throughout have a responsibility to the organization because that's their job. They're getting paid for this. Like that's what I'm getting paid for. There's been a lot of things that I've carried the flag that I did not agree with or believe in. But because I'm being compensated by this organization, I'm going to carry it. And it wasn't against my values. Yeah. It was just one of those things that, you know, in Jesse land, that's not how it works, but it does no harm. And so I could do the thing. And so in terms of like, okay, we talked about how do you get connected with your vision? Well, what brings you joy? We talked about fulfillment and passion and what makes you happy, What connects you with the joy? Then within that joy, how is that your vision? Now I'm going to say this, hopefully drop some seeds into people's heads, is when I started getting clearer, and for me, it was a 10, 15 year path. As I got clearer about what brought me fulfillment and what my vision is or could be, my performance at work got better because I was more intentional and direct about the work that I was going to do, not the work that they wanted me to do. right? And so that's a little bit scary. But the point is, as I got clearer about my personal vision, I was able to contribute in more meaningful and profitable ways to the organization's vision, provided there was alignment.
Yes.
All right. And provided that the conditions were such that I could continue to grow.
Yes.
And so I think as individuals, like what I hope is people are going to start thinking like, well, what is my vision, and or what brings me joy? What brings me the greatest amount of fulfillment? And am I walking in that direction? I'm going to say, Sarah's there. Look, oh, we got Leslie. What's going on, Miss Leslie? She's late. Glad to be here, Les. I had no doubt in my mind Leslie's clear on what her personal vision is. But at the very least, what I want is for the tribe members, the rewatchers, the lurking tribe members,
yes,
to think about, at least ask themselves the question, do I have a vision? What is my vision? What brings me joy? What do you think about that, Jen?
Yes, 100%. And you and I talked about this, like, we're not here to define vision. Like, you can define that, you can figure that out. Again, just ask yourself, like, what, and it can be as simple as this, like, this one thing is what I want to strive to be, to do. This could be, this is my next step in life. This is where I want to be in 10 years. Like all of that. Yes. It's what is my vision? What am I trying to do? What feeds me? What fuels me? What is helping me grow and evolve? And some of that's going to be within your firms because of the paths or whatever it is. But we've realized that a lot of people that are in our chat today, not all of that is defined by the firms that they are employed by.
100, yes. And then you got to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Holy moly, Robert White just dropped a freaking uppercut.
Tell me.
Vision without application is only hallucination. Okay, so Jen, you and I talked about this in prep, because guys, if y'all don't know this, Jen and I have a daily huddle 3 times a day in preparation for the live stream, right? So we want to make sure that we deliver the value that we're shooting for, and make sure we stay on script 100%. But Robert, that's freaking amazing, because here's the thing. And this kind of, I hinted at this, and I just want to throw it out there for folks that are in this visioning process, right? It's about application. And that doesn't mean that I can have an idea of how I'm going to transform the world and bring greater value to all my peers and and come and drop it on Jen's desk and say, here's my idea. This is my vision, right? Because I'm using those words interchangeably, and expect Jen to pick it up and do something with that, right? If you bring it to me, I'm gonna say that's a great idea, and I'm like, that's your damn idea. Mm-hmm. My idea, in terms of like answering this question, right? The application part is my vision. Is one of my visions is this: is the leaders in construction that figure out how to systematically demonstrate appreciation for the men and women doing the work are going to kick everybody's ass, and they are going to transform the industry. That is my vision. I'm not expecting leaders to do a damn thing about that. I am going to support and contribute to the leaders I see doing that. I am going to message, and I have training around that. There's a lot of things, a lot of my stuff is focused in that direction so that I can attract people that want to support and contribute or experience that vision. That is my job. Mm-hmm. And it is a matter of action. Otherwise, like Robert said, it is hallucination.
Yes.
And then on my lazy days, I do what Nate does, and I just wear my progressive lenses to support my vision. But Nate brought up like a really good point here. Too often, very, very clear, people confuse vision with the long-range plan. My favorite vision question is, in 20 years, forgetting everything you've done to now, what do you want the dearest people in your life to say about what you've done, what you're doing, and who you are? Yes. Right? Like that's a freaking amazing model to go down that path. What are your thoughts, Jen?
Well, I want to go back. I say I mentioned this like statement a lot based on the stuff we talk about because we got really clear early on when we did the live streams with the Lean in Love, and then we launched No BS that if we weren't willing to exhibit the behaviors we seek, then we didn't need to ask for them. And I think that falls in line a lot with this, what you just said on here's how I can contribute, here's how I can connect, here's how I can feed into my vision, and that's on me. And so I want to add to that is that I know the spaces I'm in, inside my firm, outside my firm, representing what we do, all of those spaces. If my vision is to help build connection within the construction industry by eliminating lines, then everything I do needs to feed that. And so the way I can do that, because that scares people. That scares a lot of people, especially people that sometimes are in spaces that are listening to what I'm saying. And so how do I do that? I'm able to have conversations in rooms and talk about other firms. And they're just like, what? Like, how did you get that information? How do you know? And I'm like, oh, well, I was having coffee with so-and-so and they told me this, and I know what we're doing and I know what they're doing. And so here's the things we're doing great, but also here's some gaps. And they're just like, what? Like, again, I can't make them do what I do, but I can very much exhibit the behaviors that in my mind are going to help our industry be better. And the more that they're around me and see that it's okay and that it's not taboo and that no one's going to come and jump on them and put them in the corner or whatever, then all of a sudden more people are showing up on our live stream. More people are showing up when I go on site and talking about stuff we're doing, the book, the things like that, along with things that are happening in the firm. And then they start going, well, I want to try this. I want to start this. And I'm like, that's a great idea. So it's like when we exhibit the behaviors we seek, then we're giving permission without going, you need to go do this.
Yes. Oh, okay. Oh man. So shit, we're running out of time. Okay. So last call, drop the word connection in the chat if you want to be entered into the drawing that we're going to have here in 8 minutes. I'm going to press the button in 8 minutes. So drop the word connection in the chat so that we can get that. And we got to say hello to Mr.
Good morning,
Will. Showing us some love. He's wondering when we're meeting in the NYC. You know what?
Do we have a weekend somewhere planned up in that area sometime?
Maybe we'll become yes, 100%. And so Yesenia says we need a part 2 for
I was already thinking the whole owing piece. Like, I feel like that's a whole nother anyway.
Well,
I'm not sure we even answered the mail for today, but that's okay.
On the idea of a part 2, like folks, come to the after party here in a minute. I'm going to bring Nate's comment up, Jen, so that I can go and do the linking for everybody. I'm gonna read Nate's comment, jump on that, and then after that, I'm gonna do the randomizer, the award. If you put the word here, let's
connection.
Do this. Connection. Put that in the comments if you want a shot at winning the prize. And let's go back to Jesus. Oh, here it is.
I'll pull it up. You go. I'll read it.
You got it. Okay.
Yep, got it. Okay. So Nate, what about people who are not visionary? People struggle with some of the steps between visioning, choosing a path, planning, supporting, and doing. When someone puts a vision on Jesse's desk, are they merely asking for help in some of the other steps? 100% Nate, yes, because we already know people in this tribe and people that are doing things, and even the stuff Jesse and I do. I feel like there are people that are really good at nudging or asking the right questions to get people moving in the right direction. And so I think the point is when I have an idea and I go to Jesse and go, Jesse, here's my idea. Like, what are we going to do? Like what do I need to do next? It goes back to, I hate to say it, but when we go into emotional bungee jumpers, if you haven't been there, let us know. But when we do emotional bungee jumpers, it is when someone has a problem and then they are bringing that problem to a group. And then we are trying to help them get clarity on what their problem is and what their next steps need to be. And Nate, you know this because you've experienced it. When those people bring problems, we don't take the problems away from them. We don't tell them and solutionize what their next step should be. We ask questions to help them get clear. And I think clarity helps people find their vision, their path, their planning, their supporting what's next by asking the right questions and helping them get clear on what they want. And I think it's not even just that they're not visionary. I think a lot of that comes back to they're not clear on what that next step is, or they're not clear on what even that they want. And we've got to make sure that we have people, they're surrounded by people that are allowing kind of some of that stuff to be revealed through conversations and connection. Jesse, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with Nate, which is another one of my visions, right? I believe my purpose, one of the ways I serve in very meaningful and fulfilling ways, is by getting people on the path, introducing them to the promise they are intended to be. And I know, depending on where we are and the conditions that we're dealing with, it is a difficult thing for me, first contact. So what's your vision? How do you best serve? How do you, well, what impact do you want to live on? Like, hell, it's the closing question on my podcast that I've been asking for years. What footprint do you want to leave on the planet, on this earth? And every time you're like, right? So we don't spend a lot of time thinking about these things, right? We just don't. And so, of course, we have a hard time coming up with that. People, like, if you're in that situation, it is my greatest pleasure to tinker around and pick apart and just learn more about what you think and what you care about, because that brings clarity. That is my favorite damn place to be. Jen, you know that. Right?
Yes.
Several people on the call know that I love to be there to understand and ask and think and just get clearer for you, not for me. Mm-hmm. I love that. That's not the same as somebody bringing me their vision or idea and leaving it on my desk.
Yeah.
And so I got maybe a more specific example. Back in the day when I used to do real work, I had one of the foremen, the sheet metal foreman, come and say, "Hey man, I have this idea. We should give a safety prize on X, Y, and Z if people do like, oh man, that's a great idea." And then a couple of weeks go by and he's pissed off at me. I was like, "Dude, what are you pissed off about?" "Well, I told you my idea." I'm like, "Oh yeah, you did, and I'll support it, but I'm not gonna bring it to life. That's your freaking idea. Like, sure, I have the authority. I'm saying do the work to make it happen, right? Not let me make it happen for you."
Yes.
Right?
So yes. Did you bring up Josh's comment? Because it feeds right into what you just said.
Is this it?
Yes, it says literally what you just said. Y'all just gave me the aha moment. And he said early on, his vision is to help people find those aha moments. That giving solutions that align with you isn't allowing space for people to create a solution that aligns with them. What the heck?
Gangsta. Oh, look, Amy says she wants to roll me up and smoke me. Drug. Oh man, I love it. So Nate, man, there was a lot of comments that came through while I was doing my speech. You've had some beautiful.
Well, it's because I was talking, and so it was just feeding them and fueling them.
That's what it was. Look at this. No solution changing.
Yes.
Hashtag pure coaching, 100%. That's it. How can I help guide you, get you on the path, pull out what's within you? Yesenia says, "Jesse, but was there clear communication on who would actually do the damn thing?" Actually, that's a beautiful question, Yesenia, because in that situation, there wasn't. Mm-hmm. I assumed that he knew I wasn't going to do a damn thing. Or rather, I assumed that he was going to take the actions to make the thing come up. And so that was that's why it sticks in my head so much, because it was an important lesson that since then, when people bring me an idea, I'm very clear, like, okay, what do you want me to do? Because I'm not going to do everything. And I thank you, Yesenia. That's super, super important, because you do got to be clear about who is going to do the damn thing.
And my question is very similar, Jesse. I ask, what is the next step because that to me, when I ask that, when someone comes to me with something like that and I ask, it's very clear what their response as to what they're expecting versus maybe what needs to happen. And so that opens up a big conversation.
I like it. Super, super powerful. And are you ready to do this new experiment?
Yes, the connection. Who's the winner? Who's the winner?
Hang on. Let's see if it works.
And so, and while you're doing that, so yes, I did get a text from someone. Yes, there is an after party. So Jesse did put the links in the, I'm assuming everywhere, Jesse?
I think I got them everywhere, but I posted a bunch of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, there's an after party. If you want to continue this conversation where you get to do way more talking and we get to listen, then please join the after party. And you don't have to have your makeup on or have anything else other than just joining audio. So yes.
All right, are we ready? This is for everybody to type connection in the comments. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to hit draw. Oh, look at that. Winner, Josh! Congratulations, Josh. That was cool. What do you?
That was really cool. That was a new thing. We just tried it. Jesse could have screwed it up and he didn't.
We got to do that again.
That was like in StreamYard, Sarah. How cool is that?
Yeah. All right, there we go. So, folks, if y'all thought that was cool, I want to do it again. You know what? I'm not even going to ask for feedback. We're just going to do it again. That was fun. Yeah. It is a StreamYard feature. Awesome. All right, Jen. The links for the thing are in the comments. We're going to have the after party. Please come join. Closing thought, Jennifer Lacey.
Well, I mean, gosh, there was so much today. I don't even think anything we talked about today was really in our prepping for the call. And so I think the biggest thing I got today, just because my clarity is a lot further along than some other people, is that if you are in a firm and you have people around you, below you, above you, like just remember, and this was a stat that I actually am presenting next week on, and generationally, right now, the larger generation that's in our industry, like 67% have side gigs. It's like a percentage, a huge percentage of people. Now, again, it could be something like this. And I know we have someone in our firm that does candles. Like there's people that are doing things outside of your firm. And so, one, do you know it? And two, do you support it? And so I'm just if you're in a space, like that could be a conversation with your team. That could be even a conversation on, if you're not doing it, is there something you want to do? Just to kind of get some conversations around, because if you are supporting them internally, you are fueling them, and you are also just creating that connection, but also helping them see and understand how much you support and elevate them. And so I just think there's some conversations there that maybe aren't happening because we're kind of got blinders on. And so ask the questions and just see what you get.
Yeah. Beautifully said, Jen. I'm going to add that Josh says he feels super important with the winner banner, and you are important, yes. Josh. I appreciate you playing the game. Folks out there that we still have that funky thing, and I think we've isolated where some people are commenting that we can't see on this end. Mm-hmm. I think it's Android users.
It's Android phones. So if you're on an Android phone, you either need to join us through YouTube, because your comments will come through on YouTube, or you can go on your desktop and everything's fine. But if you're on an Android phone and you are watching us through a LinkedIn Live, your comments through LinkedIn will come in after the live stream's over. So as soon as we close it out, all of your comments will still be there. We just can't pull them in on StreamYard during the live. Come through on YouTube, or you can go on your desktop.
Look at that. Back feedback.
Through LinkedIn Live, your comments
the world.
Through LinkedIn.
Okay. So Robert, look, Sarah's helping Robert. Yeah, actually, Robert's trying to find the link for the after party. Folks, can y'all help a brother out? And I think for me, there was a lot of good stuff in here around the contribution for the tribe around the questions you should ask, right? Nate shared one. I think Robert shared one. Sarah, Maria, there was a lot of insight about what brings you joy, what brings you fulfillment, what is that connection to your vision, and what's the difference? Like, is there a separation between your corporate identity and your personal identity? And you just threw some stats out there, right? If you're feeling guilty, like, come on. We talked about not recognizing or maybe even undervaluing the amazing, enormous awesomeness that is within us. And so that's the ultimate. Like, think about that. Start thinking about these questions. I promise you, when you get clear about what your vision is and how you best contribute, the world opens up. And I want that for everybody.
Yes.
And we will be doing the after party here in 5 minutes.
Yes.
5 minutes. Congratulations, Josh. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.